it's the tradition in the music as opposed to it being conservative. I think it's, in fact, one of the problems of country music for a while, I think, was people were forgetting the tradition and the roots of it. So to hear someone else, those words I've written come through someone else's voice, someone else's interpretation, I have to say it was quite emotional. And
After 78 years on this earth, and over 50 years in the music industry, Emmylou Harris just dropped a bombshell that has country music fans absolutely stunned. What she revealed about John Denver will change everything you thought you knew about these two legends. For decades, whispers followed them everywhere. Fans noticed the way their voices blended like they were meant for each other. They saw the chemistry during their rare performances together. But Emmylou stayed silent, guarding secrets that would rock the music world. Until now, what she finally admitted about Denver was not just unexpected, it was earth-shattering. And when you hear what she said about their connection, you'll understand why she kept quiet for so long. This revelation changes everything we thought we knew about both icons, and it answers questions that have haunted fans for over 25 years. But before we reveal what Emmylou finally confessed, you need to know the incredible journey that led to this moment. Because this story starts long before John Denver entered her life, and it involves another music legend whose tragic death almost destroyed her career before it even began. Hit that like button if you're ready for the truth, and let's dive into the most shocking revelation in country music history. Emmylou Harris was not supposed to become a legend. Born in Birmingham, Alabama on April 2, 1947, she was the daughter of a decorated Marine who survived being a prisoner of war in Korea. Her father's strength under unimaginable circumstances gave Emmylou something most artists never have: unbreakable resilience. But here's what most fans don't know. Emmylou's path to stardom was paved with heartbreak, sacrifice, and decisions that would haunt her for decades. At the University of North Carolina, she was studying to be an actress, not a singer. Everything changed when she discovered the folk music revolution happening in the 1960s. Joan Baez, Bob Dylan, Pete Seeger. These weren't just musicians to Emmylou. They were prophets of a new world, and she desperately wanted to be part of it. So she made a decision that shocked her family. She dropped out of college and moved to New York City with nothing but a guitar and a dream. What happened next almost ended her career before it started. Living in Greenwich Village, she was just another face in the crowd of wannabe folk singers. Money was so tight she could barely afford food. She worked dead-end jobs during the day and played coffee houses at night, watching her dreams slip away one failed audition at a time. Then came the moment that nearly broke her. In 1969, she recorded her first album, Gliding Bird. She poured her heart and soul into every track, believing this was her shot at stardom. The album flopped, completely. It was like the music industry looked at everything she had to offer and said no thanks. But here's where the story gets incredible. Instead of giving up, Emmylou was carrying a secret that gave her superhuman determination. She was a young mother, raising her daughter Hallie while trying to build a music career. Most women would have quit. Most would have chosen stability over the impossible dream. Not Emmylou Harris. She made a decision that still brings tears to her eyes. She sent her daughter to live with grandparents so she could keep chasing music. The guilt nearly destroyed her, but it also forged her into something unstoppable. And then fate intervened in the most unexpected way. A chance meeting was about to connect her with a man whose mentorship would launch her to stardom, but whose tragic death would leave scars that never healed. This is where Emmylou's real story begins, and it's more shocking than anything you've ever heard about country music. What happened next would prepare her for the bond she'd eventually share with John Denver, a connection so deep, so mysterious, that she couldn't talk about it for over 25 years. Keep watching to discover the truth that's been hidden in plain sight this entire time. If you thought Emmylou's early struggles were heartbreaking, what happened next will absolutely shock you. Because the man who saved her career died in the most tragic way possible, and his death nearly destroyed her. But it also taught her something about love and loss that would prepare her for the devastating truth about John Denver. In the early 1970s, when Emmylou was still struggling to make it, she met a man who would alter the course of music history. Gram Parsons was already a legend in country rock, known for his work with the Byrds and the Flying Burrito Brothers. But when he heard Emmylou sing, something magical happened. He didn't just want to work with her, he was obsessed. Parsons saw something in Emmylou's voice that no one else had recognized, a crystalline purity that could transform country music forever. Their first recording session was electric. When their voices blended together, it was like lightning in a bottle. Together they created GP in 1973 and Grievous Angel in 1974. These weren't just albums, they were the blueprint for everything that came after in country rock. But here's what fans never knew: their connection went far deeper than music. Emmylou later called Parsons her musical soulmate, and that phrase reveals everything about their bond. For the first time in her life, Emmylou had found someone who truly understood her artistry. Parsons didn't just appreciate her voice, he elevated it, challenged it, made it soar in ways she never thought possible. They were creating something revolutionary together, something that would influence generations of musicians. But Gram Parsons was living on borrowed time. His lifestyle was as reckless as his music was brilliant. Drugs, alcohol, and self-destruction followed him everywhere. Emmylou watched helplessly as the man who had given her career new life slowly destroyed himself. On September 19, 1973, Emmylou's world exploded. Gram Parsons was found dead in a motel room near Joshua Tree National Park. Drug overdose. He was only 26 years old. The man who had just launched her into stardom was gone, taking their partnership and their dreams with him. The devastation was beyond anything Emmylou had ever experienced. She had finally found her musical destiny, only to have it ripped away in the cruelest possible manner. For weeks, she couldn't even listen to music. She seriously considered quitting the industry altogether. But here's where Emmylou Harris proved she was made of something extraordinary. Instead of letting grief destroy her, she transformed it into fuel. She made a vow that would define the rest of her career. She would carry Gram's musical vision forward, no matter what it cost her. That decision launched one of the most incredible runs in music history. In 1975, she released Pieces of the Sky, and it changed everything. This wasn't just a debut album, it was a declaration of war against everything ordinary in country music. What happened next was unprecedented. Elite Hotel dropped later that same year and shot straight to #1 on the country charts. By 1977, Luxury Liner had cemented her reputation as an unstoppable force. Emmylou wasn't just making music, she was reshaping an entire genre. But here's what made her truly special. She never forgot that music was about connection. She formed the Hot Band with some of the most talented musicians of the era. She collaborated with Dolly Parton and Linda Ronstadt in the supergroup Trio, creating harmonies that still give people chills today. And through all of this success, one name kept appearing in the background: John Denver. Their paths crossed at benefit concerts and special events, and something magical happened every time they sang together. Their voices blended with an ease that seemed almost supernatural. Fans started to notice there was something different about Emmylou when she performed with Denver. A chemistry that went beyond music, a connection that seemed to touch something deeper than anything else in her career. But Emmylou stayed silent about their relationship. For decades, she deflected questions, changed the subject, and kept their bond hidden from the world. What was she protecting? What secret was so powerful that she couldn't share it for over 25 years? The answer will shock you. Because what Emmylou finally revealed about John Denver changes everything we thought we knew about both legends, and it explains why his sudden death hit her harder than anyone could have imagined. Keep watching to discover the truth that's been hidden for decades. This is where the story gets absolutely incredible. Because what Emmylou Harris finally revealed about John Denver explains decades of mystery, speculation, and unanswered questions. The truth is more beautiful and more heartbreaking than anyone could have imagined. By the mid-1970s, Emmylou Harris was ascending to country music royalty, and John Denver was already conquering the world. Take Me Home, Country Roads wasn't just a hit song, it was a cultural phenomenon that turned Denver into an international superstar. But here's what most people didn't understand about John Denver. Beneath the clean-cut image and the wholesome songs was a man of incredible depth and authenticity. While other stars were playing characters, Denver was living his truth. He genuinely believed in the values he sang about: love for nature, human connection, and the power of music to heal the world. When Emmylou first met John, she was stunned by his authenticity. In an industry filled with fake personas and calculated images, Denver was refreshingly real. The man who sang about sunshine and mountain highs actually lived that way. To Emmylou, who had built her career on emotional honesty, this authenticity was irresistible. Their first performance together was at a benefit concert, and something magical happened that no one in the audience could miss. When their voices blended, it wasn't just harmony, it was alchemy. John's soaring tenor lifted Emmylou's ethereal sound into something transcendent. They didn't need to rehearse or plan. Their voices found each other like they had been waiting their whole lives to meet. What Emmylou finally admitted after decades of silence was this: singing with John Denver felt like coming home, not just musically, but spiritually. She described their vocal blend as effortless harmony, but it was so much deeper than that. When they sang together, she felt like she was sharing a secret language that only they understood. But it wasn't just about the music. Offstage, John and Emmylou connected on a level that surprised them both. They talked for hours about authenticity in an industry that rewarded pretense. They shared their struggles with staying true to their values while navigating the pressures of fame. John's unwavering commitment to environmental causes inspired Emmylou's own humanitarian work. Here's what fans sensed but could never prove: their bond transcended typical industry relationships. This wasn't about business or career advancement. It was about two artists who recognized something essential in each other: a shared understanding that music was sacred, that their voices were gifts to be used responsibly. The speculation was inevitable. Were they secretly in love? Was their chemistry romantic or purely artistic? For decades, Emmylou deflected these questions with grace but firmness. Some connections, she would say, are too precious to define. And then came October 12, 1997. The day that broke Emmylou Harris's heart all over again. John Denver died in a plane crash off the coast of California. He was only 53 years old. The news hit the music world like a thunderbolt. But for Emmylou, it was devastating on a level that few people understood. When she first heard about the crash, Emmylou sat in stunned silence for hours. She later admitted that her first thought wasn't about the loss to music or to his fans. It was profoundly personal. "I've lost my harmony partner, not just for duets or concerts, but for life itself." The cruel suddenness of John's death reminded her of losing Gram Parsons 24 years earlier. But this was different. Gram's death, while tragic, wasn't entirely unexpected given his lifestyle. John's death was a complete shock. One day he was making plans and dreaming of new projects. The next day he was gone. What haunted Emmylou most was how much John still had to give. His environmental activism was ahead of its time. His music continued to evolve and inspire. His platform for positive change was stronger than ever. The unfairness of losing him at the peak of his impact left wounds that never fully healed. But here's what Emmylou revealed that shocked everyone. John Denver's death didn't just take away a friend and collaborator. It took away something she had never found with anyone else. A creative and spiritual connection that made her feel like she was singing with her other half. The secret she had protected for decades was finally revealed, and it changes everything we thought we knew about both legends. But the most shocking part of her confession is still coming, because what Emmylou said about their final conversation will leave you speechless. Keep watching to discover the truth that's been hidden for over 25 years. What Emmylou Harris revealed about her final conversation with John Denver is so powerful, so heartbreaking, that it explains why she stayed silent for over 25 years. This is the secret that changes everything. In the years following John Denver's death, something beautiful happened. His music didn't fade away. Instead, it found new generations of fans who discovered the timeless power of songs like Take Me Home, Country Roads, and Annie's Song. But for Emmylou Harris, Denver's legacy was far more personal than hit songs and concert memories. What she finally revealed was this: John Denver taught her that authenticity wasn't just an artistic choice, it was a way of life. While other musicians crafted images and chased trends, John remained stubbornly, beautifully himself. He sang about nature because he genuinely loved the earth. He advocated for environmental causes long before it was popular because he truly believed in protecting the planet for future generations. This commitment to truth inspired Emmylou's own evolution as an artist. When she took creative risks like the experimental album Wrecking Ball in 1995, she was channeling John's example. Trust your instincts. Stay true to your vision. Sincerity will always outlast trends. But here's what shocked fans most about Emmylou's confession. She revealed that John Denver gave her something no other collaborator ever had: permission to be completely vulnerable in her music. When they sang together, she felt safe to expose every emotion, every truth, every piece of her soul. That level of trust was sacred to her. While Emmylou was building her legend, her personal life was filled with challenges that tested her strength. 3 marriages that ended in divorce. The constant struggle to balance motherhood with a demanding career. The guilt of missing precious moments with her daughters because of touring schedules. She often joked that she was a really good ex-wife, but behind that humor was real pain. Each relationship taught her something valuable, but none gave her the kind of artistic and spiritual connection she found with John Denver. That's why his friendship was so precious to her. In a world where relationships often crumbled under the pressure of fame, their bond remained pure and uncomplicated. Her daughters, Hallie and Megan, became her anchors. Despite the challenges of life on the road, Emmylou was determined to be present for them whenever possible. The sacrifices she made as a mother added depth to her music. When she sang about love and loss, audiences could feel the lived experience behind every word. Just when critics thought they had Emmylou Harris figured out, she proved them wrong again. Wrecking Ball wasn't just an album, it was a statement. Working with producer Daniel Lanois, she created something that was both timeless and revolutionary. The atmospheric textures and haunting arrangements shocked traditionalists, but attracted a whole new generation of fans. Songs like Where Will I Be showcased a side of Emmylou that few had heard before. Ethereal, experimental, fearless. The album proved that she wasn't just surviving in the music industry, she was redefining it on her own terms. But Emmylou's courage extended far beyond music. She founded Bonaparte's Retreat, a dog rescue that saved countless animals from euthanasia. She campaigned for landmine removal, disaster relief, and veteran support. Just as John Denver had used his platform for environmental activism, Emmylou channeled her fame into causes that mattered. And then, at 78 years old, Emmylou Harris did something that stunned the music world. In a rare, deeply personal interview, she finally spoke openly about John Denver. After decades of deflecting questions and protecting their privacy, she let her guard down completely. What she revealed was breathtaking. She described John as utterly genuine in a world full of pretense. She talked about how their voices blended like they were meant to find each other. She admitted that losing him felt like losing a part of herself that could never be replaced. But the most shocking revelation was about their final conversation. Just weeks before his death, John had called her to talk about a new project. He was excited about using music to raise awareness about environmental issues. He spoke about the responsibility that came with their platforms, about the power of authentic voices to change the world. Emmylou said that conversation haunted her for years. John was so full of life, so passionate about his mission. The cruel irony that he died just as he was planning his most important work left her questioning everything about fate and purpose. What she confessed next will leave you speechless, because Emmylou revealed the real reason she stayed silent about John Denver for so long, and it's more beautiful and heartbreaking than anyone could have imagined. The final part of this story will show you why their bond was truly one of a kind, and how it continues to influence music today. Keep watching for the conclusion that will change how you hear both of their voices forever. This is it. The moment Emmylou Harris revealed the truth she had protected for over 25 years. What she confessed about John Denver is so powerful, so beautiful, that it redefines everything we thought we knew about love, friendship, and the magic that happens when two souls connect through music. For decades, fans and journalists pressed Emmylou about her relationship with John Denver. Were they lovers? Was there a secret romance that the public never knew about? The speculation followed them everywhere, but Emmylou always deflected with grace and mystery. Now, at 78, she finally revealed why she stayed silent for so long. The truth wasn't about protecting a romantic secret. It was about protecting something even more sacred: a spiritual connection that transcended every label society tries to put on relationships between men and women. When Emmylou spoke about John Denver in that stunning interview, her voice carried a weight of emotion that had been building for decades. She described their bond as indefinable and beyond category. Some connections, she explained, exist in a space between love, friendship, and shared purpose. What she and John had was all of those things, and none of them. It was simply two souls recognizing something essential in each other. Here's what Emmylou finally admitted. Singing with John Denver didn't just create beautiful music, it healed something broken inside her. After losing Gram Parsons so tragically, she had built walls around her heart. She could collaborate with other artists, but she never let anyone get as close as Gram had been. John Denver changed that. His authenticity was so complete, so unshakable, that it melted her defenses. When they sang together, she felt safe to be completely vulnerable again. Their harmonies weren't just musical arrangements. They were conversations between two people who understood the sacred responsibility of using their voices to touch other hearts. She revealed that John once told her something that stayed with her forever. Real music happens when two people stop performing and start sharing their souls. That's what their duets were. Not performances, but spiritual exchanges that left both of them changed. What made John Denver so special to Emmylou wasn't just his talent. It was his unwavering commitment to authenticity in an industry that often rewarded pretense. He never lost his sense of wonder about the world. Even at the height of his fame, he remained the same man who found joy in a sunset or a simple melody. That childlike appreciation for beauty inspired Emmylou's own approach to music and life. John taught her that being genuine wasn't a weakness in the music industry. It was a superpower. His fearless advocacy for environmental causes showed her how to use her platform for something bigger than entertainment. When she took creative risks throughout her career, she was channeling John's example. When she founded Bonaparte's Retreat to save animals, she was honoring his commitment to making the world better. When she chose truth over convenience in her songs, she was keeping his spirit alive. As Emmylou reflected on her 78 years of life and over 50 years in music, she realized something profound. The awards, the accolades, the chart positions, none of that matters in the end. What matters is the connections you make and the authenticity you bring to every moment. John Denver's influence on her went far beyond their occasional duets. He gave her permission to follow her instincts, to trust her vision, to never compromise her truth for industry expectations. Every time she chose sincerity over strategy, she was honoring the example he set. When asked about the speculation that had followed them for decades, Emmylou smiled with a wisdom that only comes from living fully. She said that some bonds transcend easy definitions. What mattered wasn't the nature of their connection, but its impact. John Denver helped her understand that authenticity was not just an artistic choice, but a way of life. And then came the revelation that explains everything. The real reason Emmylou stayed silent about John Denver for so long wasn't to protect secrets or fuel mystery. It was to protect the sacred nature of their bond from a world that tries to reduce every relationship to simple categories. Their connection was pure in a way that's rare in any industry, but especially in entertainment. It was based on mutual respect, shared values, and a deep understanding that music has the power to heal, inspire, and connect souls across time and space. To explain it or define it would have diminished its power. In finally speaking about John Denver, Emmylou gave the world a gift. She showed us that the most powerful connections in life are often the ones that need no labels, only love, respect, and the courage to let authenticity shine through every moment we share. Their story reminds us that true harmony isn't just about matching voices, it's about matching souls. And somewhere in the cosmos, those two voices are still blending together, creating music that touches hearts and changes lives. What do you think about Emmylou's shocking revelation? Did it completely change how you hear their music? Drop a comment below and tell us which part of this story hit you the hardest. Were you surprised by the truth about their connection? Do you think there are other music legends hiding similar secrets? If this incredible story moved you, smash that like button right now. It helps us bring you more untold stories from music history that the industry tried to keep hidden. And if you want to discover more shocking revelations about your favorite artists, Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're uncovering secrets that will blow your mind every single week. Share this video with any music fan who thinks they know everything about country music legends. Trust us, they'll thank you for it. Because sometimes the most beautiful truths are the ones that take a lifetime to share. The harmony between Emmylou Harris and John Denver may have been brief in this world, but its echo will resonate forever. That's the power of authentic connection, authentic music, and authentic love, and that's a truth worth waiting 78 years to hear. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next shocking revelation that will change music history forever.